My best friend Sophie was looking into my eyes saying, "You and Jake are the perfect couple," when I stared right back at her, the same Sophie who was secretly meeting with Jake, the same Sophie who claimed to be my closest confidant. I smiled and said, "Thank you, Sophie, you're such a real friend." But at that moment, I had very different plans in my mind. My name is Emma, I'm 26 years old and I work as a graphic designer. Sophie and I have been friends since high school, exactly 8 years. She was going to be my maid of honor. I was going to be hers. We made vacation plans together, shared our secrets, met each other's families. Sophie was like a sister to me. I met Jake 2 years ago, software engineer, handsome, funny. When Sophie first saw him, she said, "Oh my God, Emma, this guy is perfect. You should marry him." If only she knew how right she was. Everything started 3 weeks ago. Jake and I were eating at a restaurant. When he went to the bathroom, he left his phone on the table. Normally, I would never look at his phone. I trusted him. But the phone vibrated and a message appeared on the screen. It said, "Sophie," and the message was, "Are you with Emma tonight? I miss you." At first, I thought it was an innocent friendship message. Sophie loved Jake as a normal friend. But then the second message came. "Last night was amazing. Can I stay longer next time?" My heart started pounding. This wasn't a normal friendship message. When Jake returned from the bathroom, he took his phone. He saw the messages and his face changed a bit. "Is everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah, just work stuff," he said. But he wasn't looking into my eyes. That night when I got home, my head was spinning. What did these messages mean? Sophie and Jake? No, this wasn't possible. Sophie was my best friend. She would never betray me like this. But my inner voice was telling me different things. The next day I called Sophie and invited her out for coffee. While we were sitting at Starbucks, I casually started talking about Jake. "How's Jake?" Sophie asked. "Good," I said. "We had dinner at a restaurant last night." "What did you do?" "Me? Oh, I just watched a movie at home. Boring night." She was lying. The message on Jake's phone said, "Last night was amazing." Sophie wasn't at home. "Which movie?" I asked. Sophie hesitated for a second. Something on Netflix. I don't remember the name." This was definitely a lie. Sophie would describe every movie she watched in detail. That day I started suspecting Sophie, but I wasn't sure yet. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe Jake's messages were work-related, and Sophie was talking about a different Jake. But deep down, I knew the truth. That week, I started observing Jake's behavior more carefully. He was checking his phone more often than usual, coming late, leaving early. Work meetings had multiplied, and Sophie started paying more attention to me than usual, constantly texting, asking how I was, wondering how things were with Jake and me. "Are you and Jake making plans for the future?" she had asked last week. "What kind of plans?" I asked. "I don't know. Marriage, children, moving in together." These questions were very specific, as if she was gathering information about my relationship with Jake. The second week, I got confirmation. I decided to make a surprise visit to Jake's apartment. I told him I wanted to cook for him, and got his key. I knew he was at work that day. When I went to the apartment, I opened the door and was shocked. Sophie's perfume was everywhere. Her hair tie was in the living room. The shampoo brand Sophie used was in the bathroom. And in the bedroom, Sophie's earring was on the nightstand. At that moment, everything became clear. Sophie and Jake were having an affair. And this wasn't a recent thing. The fact that Sophie's belongings were so comfortable in Jake's house showed that this situation had been going on for a while. But I didn't confront them immediately. Instead, I decided to be strategic. At home, I opened my laptop and created a folder called Operation Truth. If Sophie and Jake were fooling me, I could fool them too. The next day, I called Sophie. "Sophie, Jake's birthday is coming. I want to organize a surprise party for him. Can you help?" Sophie looked excited. "Of course. When?" "This weekend. But we have to keep it secret." "Absolutely. I'll help with everything." "Perfect." This gave me the opportunity to track their schedule. Throughout that week, I constantly talked to Sophie under the pretext of party planning. I asked her when Jake was free, when he was busy. "Is Jake available Saturday afternoon?" I asked. I think he's busy," Sophie said. "He probably has a work meeting, but Jake had told me Saturday was free." "What about Sunday?" "Sunday too." I'm not sure." Sophie knew Jake's schedule better than I did. This was not normal. That weekend, I started surveillance. Saturday afternoon, I sat at the cafe across from Jake's apartment building. Sophie came at 2 p.m. She met with Jake. They went into the apartment together. They came out together 3 hours later, hand in hand. At that moment, I took their photos. Sunday, I did the same thing, this time a different location, Sophie's favorite restaurant. They were having a romantic dinner with Jake. More photos. The third week, I intensified evidence gathering. I tried to access Jake's phone. I knew his passcode. It was my birthday. One evening while he was in the shower, I opened his phone. The message history with Sophie was devastating. Emma is acting suspicious today. She might know something. Calm down, babe. Emma has no idea. She's very trusting. But the party planning excuse seemed weird. Emma is planning a party because she loves me. You're being paranoid. I love you, Jake. I love you too, Sophie. There's nothing left between Emma and me anyway. These messages were devastating, but at the same time, they were powerful evidence. I took screenshots of everything. The fourth week, I prepared my final plan. Jake's birthday was really coming, and I was really organizing a surprise party. But this party wouldn't be like they imagined. I invited all our mutual friends, Jake's family, work colleagues, Sophie's friends, everyone. I told Jake it would be a small gathering. I told Sophie it would be an intimate party. Both of them were going to have a big surprise. When the party day came, everything was ready. Jake's favorite restaurant, beautiful decorations, his favorite cake, and of course the special slideshow I prepared. When guests started arriving, Jake looked surprised. Emma, this is too many people. Surprise, I said smiling. You're special, everyone should celebrate you. Sophie arrived too. She also had a surprised expression on her face. Emma, this is a huge party. I know, Jake deserves it. During dinner, everyone was happy. Jake and Sophie were avoiding each other. Naturally, they didn't want to appear close in public. When cake time came, I stood up. Everyone, attention please, I said. I prepared a special presentation for Jake's special day. I connected my laptop to the projector. These are the highlights of Jake and my 2-year relationship, I said. The first slides were normal. Photos of Jake and me together, happy moments, vacation pictures. Everyone was saying, aw, but then the slides changed. And of course, we shouldn't forget the special people who were with us on this journey, I said. Sophie's photo appeared. Sophie, my dearest friend, we've been together for 8 years. Sophie was smiling but looked uncomfortable. Sophie has always been very caring about my relationship. She constantly asks how Jake and I are doing, gives advice. Next slide. Actually, Sophie developed a very close relationship with Jake. Jake's face started turning pale. So close that next slide. Photo of Jake and Sophie hand in hand at the restaurant. Silence fell in the room. Sometimes they spend quality time together. Next slide. Sophie entering Jake's apartment. Gasps started. And sometimes they text each other sweet messages. I started showing the screenshots. Emma has no idea. Emma is very trusting. I love you, Jake. There's nothing left between Emma and me. The room was completely silent now. Everyone was looking at Jake and Sophie in shock. Jake stood up. Emma, this, I can explain. Oh, Jake, I said calmly. You don't need to explain. Pictures speak louder than words. Sophie started crying. Emma, please, Sophie, I said, still smiling. You're my dearest friend, remember? You always tell me the truth. Guests started murmuring. Jake's mother looked shocked. Sophie's friends were uncomfortable. So, I said, taking the microphone, this party has an additional purpose. This is not just Jake's birthday. This is also a goodbye party. Emma, please stop, Jake said. Goodbye to fake friends, I said, looking at Sophie. Goodbye to lying boyfriends, I said, looking at Jake. And hello to an honest life. I closed my laptop and took my bag. Thank you everyone for coming. Enjoy the rest of the party. Jake, Sophie, you two make a perfect couple. You both love lying. And I left. The guests started clapping behind me. The next day, my phone was ringing nonstop. Jake, Emma, please call me back. I need to explain. Sophie, Emma, I'm so sorry it just happened. Please forgive me. Jake's mom, Emma, dear, I'm so ashamed of my son. Sophie's friends, Emma, we had no idea. We're so sorry. I didn't answer any of them. A week later, Jake came to my apartment. Emma, please let me explain. Jake, I said calmly, nothing to explain. You made your choice. It wasn't planned, he said. Sophie and I, it just happened. For how long, I asked. What? How long have you been fucking my best friend? Jake looked down. 6 months. 6 months. Half of our last year together. Did you ever love me? I asked. Yes, he said. I did love you, but Sophie and I, we have a different connection. Different connection? I laughed. You mean the connection where you both lie to my face every day? Emma, it's not like that. Jake, get out. Emma, get out. He left. Sophie also came over the next day. Emma, please, let's talk. About what, Sophie? About how you fucked my boyfriend for 6 months while pretending to be my best friend? I never meant for this to happen, she was crying. Jake and I, we tried to resist, but what? You decided my feelings don't matter? Emma, you don't understand. Jake and I, we're in love. In love? I laughed bitterly. Sophie, you don't know what love is. Love doesn't involve betraying your best friend. I know you hate me, she said, but I need you to know. This wasn't about hurting you. Sophie, everything you did was about hurting me. Every time you asked about my relationship with Jake, you were gathering information. Every time you said we were perfect together, you were lying. Every time you hugged me and called me your best friend, you were betraying me. Emma, we're done, Sophie. Never contact me again. She left too. 2 weeks later, I heard through mutual friends that Jake and Sophie were officially together. Apparently, they were finally free to be honest about their love. Honest, what a joke. A month later, something ironic happened. Ryan, Sophie's ex-boyfriend, contacted me. Emma, I heard about Jake and Sophie. Yeah, I said. Apparently, they're very happy. Actually, Ryan said, I need to tell you something. Sophie cheated on me too, with multiple guys, including Jake. Sophie was cheating on me with Jake while you were dating him. She's been playing games for years. This was incredible. Ryan, are you sure? Positive. I have proof. Sophie has been manipulating everyone. She's not capable of a real relationship. This information was devastating but also validating. Sophie hadn't just betrayed me. She was a serial cheater. Does Jake know? I asked. I doubt it, Ryan said, but he will. Sophie can't help herself. Ryan proved right. 2 months later, I heard that Sophie had cheated on Jake with someone from her work. Jake discovered it and they broke up. Jake tried to contact me afterward. Emma, I realize now what kind of person Sophie is. I made a terrible mistake. Jake, I said, you didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. You chose to betray me. Sophie being a cheater doesn't excuse what you did. I know, he said, but maybe we can. No, Jake, we never can. 6 months later, I'm in a much better place. I started dating someone new, David. He's honest, kind, loyal, everything Jake wasn't. Sophie tried to apologize multiple times through mutual friends. I heard she lost most of her friend group after people learned about her cheating pattern. Jake is still single. I heard he has trust issues now. Ironic. Sometimes people ask me, Emma, do you regret exposing them so publicly? Never. That party wasn't just about revenge. It was about truth. Jake and Sophie thought they could fool me indefinitely. They thought I was too trusting, too naive. They were wrong. I learned an important lesson. Trust people, but verify. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Sophie showed me she was a liar and manipulator. Jake showed me he was disloyal and weak. I believed them. The best part? Our mutual friends now know exactly who Jake and Sophie are. They lost their entire social circle because of their own actions. Sometimes karma needs a little help, and sometimes the best revenge is simply truth. Jake and Sophie thought they were playing a game. They thought I was a passive player. But in the end, I won. Because I chose honesty over deception. I chose self-respect over fake friendship. I chose truth over comfortable lies. That slideshow wasn't just about exposing them. It was about freeing myself. Sophie said Jake and she were finally free to be honest about their love. Well, I was finally free too. Free from fake friends. Free from lying boyfriends. Free from people who didn't value me. Jake texted me last month. Emma, I see you're happy with David. I'm glad. You deserve happiness. I didn't respond. Because my happiness isn't about what Jake thinks I deserve. My happiness is about choosing people who value honesty, loyalty, and real love. Sophie asked a mutual friend to tell me she's learned from her mistakes and wants to make amends. Too late. Some betrayals can't be forgiven. Not because I'm an unforgiving person, but because some people don't deserve second chances. Sophie had 8 years to be a real friend. Jake had 2 years to be a loyal boyfriend. They chose deception instead. Now they live with the consequences, and I live with peace. Because when I told Sophie, you're such a real friend that day, I was right. She was a real friend. To Jake, just not to me. And now I have real friends, a real boyfriend, a real life, built on truth, not lies. Jake and Sophie can keep each other. They deserve each other.